Hey guys, Late Boy Scout here, giving you a look at the Byrd Cara Cara 2 in G10. Let's have a look at this blade, man. Let's get into it. Let's take a good look at this thing. I'm enamored with this blade. I'm absolutely in love with it. I totally dig it. I absolutely love it. And check out the package. Reminiscent of what? Yes, Spyderco packaging. Awesome. Awesome. Gives a little bit of gravitas to the brand, I'd say. I like it a lot. I love it. And yes, you do in fact see before you some talking points. Not trying to imitate nothing fancy or anything here. It's just that, you know, I've been through this knife review like 3 or 4 times now and cannot stay on point. So I had to come up with some talking points to keep myself straight. So yeah, the Byrd Cara Cara 2 G10 sequels are awesome sometimes. And this is one of those times. This is an awesome sequel to the Byrd Cara Cara line. Fantastic. Look at the improvements they made here. If you own a Cara Cara, you'll notice some of the major improvements here. They got rid of that weird hump. That weird hump that was right here, which you can see on the Cara Cara Rescue. Yeah, it carried over into the regular Cara Cara, this hump here. And you just imagine that on there, and it was pretty unnecessary. The hump is gone. The hump is gone. That's so cool. That's so cool. I'm jumping way ahead. I'm talking about aesthetics and cool factor. Let's stick to the talking points. Again, that's why I need them. I can't do it. All right, specifications, the size and weight on this thing. You're looking at about 4 1/4 ounces. That's not too bad. You know, it's a very carryable 4 1/4 ounces, in my opinion. The length of this blade makes it very carryable. What is this length, by the way? The closed length is 4 3/4 inches. The overall length is 8 1/2. The cutting edge, 3 3/16, and the full blade length is 3 3/4. The steel here is 8CR13 MOV, which I've had good experience with. And let's see, Spyderco Tenacious, for instance, and plenty of other knives. It's a good middle of the road steel. It's not super high end. It's not the cheapest stuff. It's good middle of the road steel that gets the job done. Takes good edge, sharpens easily, and stays pretty sharp. Phosphor bronze bushings here and here, which allow for a smoother opening and closing than you might have otherwise. How smooth is it in my experience? It's getting better. It wasn't super smooth at first. I'd probably like to take this thing apart, clean it out, get all that factory grease out of there, and factory debris and lint and whatever, probably some of my own pocket lint. Get some of that out of there and see if I can get this thing to open and close really smoothly. I'll probably do that in the future. And I can, because look at that. Yes, screw construction. Awesome. Let's see, still on materials. G10 handle scales, and they are the grippy variety. Not ridiculously grippy, but nicely grippy. You know, it's a good amount of grippiness. If you're used to the grippiness of the Spyderco Tenacious, you'll be totally happy with the Cara Cara 2 in G10. It does have stainless steel liners in there, as you can see. Stainless steel pocket clip as well. That probably does it for materials. The locking mechanism, as you can see, is a back lock with a David Boyd dent, or detent, whatever you want to call it. And I'm getting more and more used to the idea of a back lock knife. So many of my knives are in fact liner lock, which is a very comfortable, very easy locking mechanism, in my opinion, and pretty much easy to actuate with one hand all the time. The back locks, it depends on the knife if it's easy to actuate with one hand. You know, you can use a little weight and throw that blade down and close it. Hold that down, sort of throw the weight of the blade down. But again, in order to be able to do that, you've got to have some safety here. You've got to have a little bit of a protection area there that allows you to do that. Blade shape and grind, as you can see, is not exactly leaf shape. Tenacious is more leaf shape, and more Spyderco's, standard leaf shape blade. Still not exactly, but closer to it. This sort of started as a leaf shape, but is also almost a spear point. I don't know. I'm kind of in between on what the actual blade shape name would be called. The grind on it is full flat ground. Full flat ground, guys. Woohoo! It makes for a beautiful, beautiful blade. It really does. Has a fairly fine edge on it. Not extremely fine, but I'm happy with it. I'm happy with that edge. Model variations, let's talk about some of the variations you can get this in. You can get the, this is the G10 version that I have here. You can also get a rescue version of it, similar to this rescue blade. Now the new Cara Cara 2 Rescue has different handles on it. It is still FRN, but it looks more like this. You see that texture? This is the Byrd Meadowlark 2. And the bidirectional texturing that you find in the Endura and Delica has been carried over into the Meadowlark 2 and the Cara Cara 2. It's slightly different, cosmetically slightly different, but functionally I think it's about the same as what you get on those two Spyderco knives. And this carries over into this FRN version, the new FRN version of this. So you're going to get this kind of texturing on the FRN version of this knife. That is to say, the FRN version of the Rescue, which is fully serrated. Yeah, they're also going to come out with an FRN, a lightweight version of this one, a non-Rescue version of this knife. Very, very cool. You also have a stainless steel handled version of it, which, a bit heavy for my taste, but cool. A lot of you guys will dig that, and I'm for it. It would feel nice in hand, just be a little slick. But, if you're okay with that, I'm okay with it. Here's some model variations that would be very cool. What if they made green G10 handle scales, huh? I got that suggestion from one of my viewers, so I made a little Photoshop mock-up. Check that out. What do you think of that? Sal Glesser, you watching? What do you think, dude? Put it out there for us. We'll buy it. And then just because I'm a fan of orange handles, there's the orange one as well. I'd love to see those. Let's talk about the construction of this blade and go under the hood for a second. If you can see, which I'm not sure if you can, the liners are skeletonized. So they've made this about as light as they can. 4 1/4 ounces, it's light enough for me. The lockup on this thing is as tight as I could ask for. It really is. Everything about it is pretty well constructed. Everything about it feels pretty tough. Let's talk about the fit and finish of this knife. It's slightly below Spyderco. I would admit to that. However, it does still look very nice, and it does feel good. And the G10 has got sort of a chisel cutout on the sides here, on the ends, or the edges of the slab there, that allows for a more rounded fit in your hand, and it just overall feels really good. The jimping is the biggest hit for fit and finish here. It's you probably can't tell here in this camera or in this light, but it's a little ragged. Jimping on that is a little ragged on the back as well as in the finger choil area, the choke-up choil as I like to call it. A little less high quality than probably what you get with the rest of Spyderco's knives. Okay, but you know what? The price is also awesome. And that jimping is not ragged. It looks, very sharp and clean. And it's also extremely effective. How is this for effectiveness? Perfectly effective as it ever needs to be. So I'm totally happy with it. I really am. Ergonomics, feel in hand, I mentioned that. Because of that rounding of the G10 handle scales, it feels really good. It feels great in hand, I would say. It almost feels better in a reverse grip. I think it almost does. You can wrap your thumb around that sort of curve there, and it feels really good in a reverse grip. Deployment mode and speed. Deployment is via, what do you call this, bird hole? Well, it's a thumb hole, but it's, not the normal Spidey hole. It's the one that's sort of talon shaped. And I'm going to go with talon. Some folks call it the comet. Some say it imitates a bird's eye. I'm going to say it's a talon shape. Okay? And is it quick? It can be. It requires a little bit of wrist flicking and, some force. And generally speaking, when I open it, I just kind of ease it out. And that feels nice. So that works for me. Retention and safety, well, the jimping is fantastic on it. So that's going to keep you safe. It's a nice strong pocket clip to help it retain in your pocket, but also the G10 scales and the jimping help it to retain really well in your hand. Tip and the edge of this knife, as I mentioned before, the edge is fairly fine, not the finest I've seen, but I'm okay with it. In the testing that I've done, and the carrying that I've done, and the cutting that I've done, it makes me happy. It works for me. The tip, I wouldn't mind seeing that sort of come out a little bit more so that it's just totally straight down instead of straight, and then drop. I'd rather see that kind of come out straight. Then again, bringing it down like that adds a little bit thicker material at the end, at the tip, makes it perhaps a little bit stronger than it might be if they extended that all the way down. Perhaps. So again, I'll take it. I'm not unhappy with it. Clip design and carryability. A nice stainless steel clip here, as I mentioned before. Fully repositionable. Here, here, here. And of course lanyard hole, for those of you that like those. I find that the relationship between the pocket clip and the G10 scales is just right. It retains really well in your pocket while also extracting very smoothly. I find that the handle width is one of the most carryable things about the Byrd Cara Cara 2. Compare it to Spyderco Tenacious, which is slightly thicker, still a fairly carryable knife. One of my favorite things about the Kershaw Chill is how super thin it is, and it is a very, very carryable knife. The Cara Cara 2 is approaching that. I mentioned before that the length of this blade, the closed length, helps with the carryability of this knife. And what I mean by that is this much of the handle sticks out, and that's great for extraction, but this much of the blade is inside your pocket, and that helps to keep it inside your pocket. What are sensible applications for this? Definitely an EDC knife, probably a work knife, maybe a defensive knife. It's large enough, I think, feels tough and strong, and it does look great. It looks fantastic because it's so reminiscent of Spyderco's Endura series. But not just that, it adds a lot to that. You know, and not only does it give you what the Endura gives you, but I think it adds a lot. That choke-up finger choil is my favorite feature of so many Byrd knives, and you don't get that with the Endura or Delica. It really gives you the opportunity to do some close, detailed cutting, and it's just my favorite feature. Aesthetics, I think it looks fantastic. That wonderful flat ground blade, full flat ground blade, looks gorgeous. Nice straight spine, looks wonderful. It's a huge improvement looks-wise over the previous version of the Cara Cara, in my opinion. I expect it to be a great performing knife. The Spyderco brand is very reputable. Everybody knows Spyderco and how, what a great job they do with their knives. Byrd is a subsidiary, of course, of Spyderco, so I fully expect this to hold up really well, and that's the reputation of the brand. And likely to perform very well as an EDC knife for me, as I have carried it in the short time that I have. It's performed wonderfully. It feels great in pocket. It conquers every EDC task I throw at it, including a little backyard pruning. Yeah, have a look at those pictures. I chopped off a few small branches in my parents' backyard. Yeah, it worked. Slice for the price. Guys, this thing comes in at an MSRP of $45, but you can actually pick it up for less than that, quite less than that. The median price that I've seen it for is $28.95. By median price, I mean, yes, you'll find it for less, and yes, you'll find it for more, but that's kind of right in the middle of all the prices that I've found. $28.95 as of the time that I'm shooting this video. And the quality for the price, I think, is totally top-notch. If you dig the Spyderco Tenacious because of the quality you get for the price, you're going to be nuts about the Cara Cara 2. You might, aesthetically speaking, have a problem with the Talon hole. I know some guys do. It took me a little while to get over it. Then again, it took me a little while to warm up to Spyderco as a brand. Just the leaf-shaped blades, the hole in general. It took me a little while to get used to it and say, yes, those are good-looking knives. But eventually I came around and I was like, no, you know what? They're really onto something there. And they are. They totally are. That's the Cara Cara 2. I'm the late Boy Scout. We'll see you later.